J number 1. We have not come here to take prisoners, but to surrender ever more deeply to freedom and joy. We have not come into this exquisite world to hold ourselves hostage from love. Run, my dear, from anything that may not strengthen your precious budding wings. Run like hell, my dear, from anyone likely to put a sharp knife into the sacred, tender vision of your beautiful heart. We have a duty to befriend those aspects of obedience that stand outside of our house and shout to our reason, oh please, come out and play. For we have not come here to take prisoners or to confine our wondrous spirits, but to experience ever and ever more deeply our divine courage, freedom, and light.
I have learned so much. I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself within me that I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even a pure soul. Love has befriended Hafiz so completely, it has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known.
Now is the time. Now is the time to know that all that you do is sacred. Now, why not consider a lasting truce with yourself and God? Now is the time to understand that all your ideas of right and wrong were just a child's training wheels to be laid aside when you can finally live with veracity and love. Hafiz is a divine envoy whom the Beloved has written a holy message upon. My dear, please tell me, why do you still throw sticks at your heart and God? What is it in that sweet voice inside that incites you to fear? Now is the time for the world to know that every thought and action is sacred. This is the time for you to deeply compute the impossibility that there is anything but grace. Now is the season to know that everything you do is sacred.
At this time we have a moment for prayer and silent meditation in whatever form that means for you. But usually you would like to sit in a comfortable position, and it's wonderful if you have both your feet on the ground and nothing crossed, and maybe even just releasing your hands on your lap. And a lot of us find that having our eyes closed is helpful to the inner life as well. After we finish this silence, we will immediately begin to sing the response, which is hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. In this perfect and precious moment, right where you are, you see your heart in your mind. You see that it begins and ends and begins and ends, beating without fail, even when you're sleeping. You see your heart, and you smile at your heart. You see all the millions of cells that make up you, and you smile at them. This precious moment of life, right here and right now. This morning's reading is from Thich Nhat Hanh, his book called True Love. It was wonderful this morning to be reminded about this monk who at one point said to Martin Luther King, "I would like you to oppose this war." And Martin Luther King then nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize later. It was wonderful to be reminded that this wonderful teacher who still lives and moves and has his being among us still teaches. And on NPR there was a wonderful police officer who said, "I use these teachings every day. When I meet someone, in the situations when I meet someone, the way I show up changes how they show up, even when it's an arrest." This is called restoring peace within yourself. During the day, if you practice walking meditation, each step brings you back to the present moment. Each step enables you to touch what is beautiful, what is true. And in this way, after a few weeks of practice, joy will become something possible. You will be able to undo many knots within yourself, and you will be able to transform negative energies into joy and peace. The Buddha said this: "The object of your practice should first of all be yourself. Your love for the other, your ability to love another person depends on your ability to love yourself. If you are not able to take care of yourself, if you are not able to accept yourself, how could you accept another person? And how could you love him or her?" So it is necessary to come back to yourself in order to be able to achieve the transformation. Each of us is a king or queen who reigns over a very vast territory that has 5 rivers. The first river is our body, which we do not know well enough. The second is the river of sensations. Each sensation is a drop of water in this river. There are pleasant sensations, others that are unpleasant, and neutral sensations. To meditate is to sit down on the bank of the river of sensations and identify each sensation as it arises. The third is the river of perceptions, which it is necessary to observe. You must look deeply into their nature in order to understand. The fourth is the river of mental formations, of which there are 51, meaning things like discrimination, happiness, equanimity, resolve, compulsion. Okay? And finally, the fifth is the river of consciousness. Our territory is really very vast, but we are not responsible kings or queens. We always try to dodge away, and we do not keep up a real surveillance of our territory. We have the feeling that there are immense conflicts there, too much suffering, too much pain. That is the reason we are very hesitant to get back to our territory. Our daily practice consists in running away. The practice of mindfulness, the practice of meditation, consists of coming back to ourselves in order to restore peace and harmony. It's always a joy to be here and to speak with you about what's on my heart and mind, and your willingness to listen and hear whatever will be helpful or useful or not for you. So this title that I came up with when I was standing in an airport, I think, and April said, "Your title is due," and I wrote back an email to Jane, one of the Janes, who was in charge of managing and the minister. And I wrote back, and she said, "Well, we need the title." And I wrote back, "Are we there yet?" And she said, "Well, yes, we need the title." So I said, "Well, actually, that is the title. Are we there yet?" There's a few ways I want to look at this statement and this way that we are in life about waiting for something. Are we there yet? There's the child in us that is always impatient but joyful and excited about, are we there yet? Whether it's a destination or Disneyland, or the thing is coming, or the gift we're going to get, or the food we're going to eat, or something. It's, are we there yet? Is it happening yet? Do I have it yet? That's the child's question. Doesn't mean that we don't remain a child, right? There's part of us that stays alive in the child in us always. For me, it's, going someplace wonderful. Are we there yet? For me, it's being excited. Did the Vitamix come in the mail yet? I was so excited by that machine. So the child in us. Then there's this aspect that I'll call the celebrity, even if we're not comfortable with that. But there's this part of us that strives to attain, to achieve, whether it's for wealth or accolades or just expertise or getting better at what it is we do. So we strive, we work hard, we continue to push for more and more and better and better. This is the celebrity aspect of us that says, am I good enough yet? Do I deserve it yet? So there's the child that says, do I have it yet? And then there's the celebrity aspect of us that wants to grow and change, and do I deserve it yet? Am I enough yet? Then there's this aspect of us that's seeker. Now the seeker is a little different than those other two. In terms of, are we there yet? Have I released enough? Have I forgiven enough? Am I in the experience I want to be in? So the seeker does this work of releasing, whether it's releasing things, experiences, people sometimes, but mostly ideas, worn out ideas, beliefs, thoughts, patterns that we have that don't serve us anymore. So we release those as the seeker. The forgiveness part, we often try to start with ourselves, not always successful. And then we try to start with someone else, not always successful. But the seeker continues to seek after that forgiveness, that feeling of, I see you, and I see the perfection behind your activity. I see the perfection behind what you have done or appear to have done that caused me some pain, whether that's yourself or someone else. So the seeker seeks for avenues, ways, opportunities to forgive, to release, to let go. And asks, am I in that experience yet? Am I in that experience of forgiveness, of release? And then you think about something else, and maybe we can call it today the surrendered soul. Not the child, not the celebrity, not even the seeker, but the one that says, at the end of the day, there's really only one question I have for myself. Am I that which I long for? And most of us will use words like peace, joy, love. Am I that which I long for? Am I the surrendered soul? Have I surrendered to myself and my inner life? We think about the words of Hafiz that were shared. We have not come here to take prisoners or make prisoners of ourselves, but to surrender even more deeply to freedom and joy. Part of us that keeps prisoner our joy, our freedom, our love, keeps it in wait, keeps it in holding until when I am this or that, or when I have earned this or that, or when they do this or that. We keep our love and our freedom and our joy sometimes prisoner within ourselves. But if we surrender, how do we learn to surrender? And what does it mean? Does it mean letting go of everything we see in the world that doesn't work for us? Does it mean allowing everyone to walk over us that isn't in honor and integrity with the way that we want to live? No. In the other poem that was read, I have learned so much from God. You can replace that term God with anything that serves you. You can say, I have learned so much from Plato, who says, use right contemplation, meaning don't just rely on your senses. Pay attention to that vastness within you that Thich Nhat Hanh talks about. Let that inform you. I have learned so much from Emerson, where Ralph Waldo Emerson has an expression which is very harsh but very clear. He says, get your bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits. Okay? We can learn from Eckhart Tolle of today The power of now, not resisting what is, being absolutely present. So how do we surrender? We start at the very beginning. There's some song, and I know that James and John would know what it is. I can't think of what it is right now, but there's some song that says start at the beginning. I don't know if it's the wisdom of From the King and I, or the wisdom of the, there we go, the gospel according to the Sound of Music. Thank you. Start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to be. So this idea of where do we begin with the surrender, with the possibility of peace within ourselves, is right here within ourselves. And every time I speak and every time my heart opens to speak, it's always going to be about right here. And I think to myself, I know this group of beautiful people who do so much in the world to reduce the amount of suffering and pain. And does my saying that we focus within first take anything away from that? I don't think it does. I think it says the only place you can begin with love is inside. The only love you can give is the love that you have within you to give, that you're sharing to yourself, from yourself, through yourself. When you dwell inside and allow yourself to feel joy, allow yourself to feel gratitude, allow yourself to feel that love, that is what you are able to share in the world. When you think about the woman who talked about being a police officer and sitting in meditation and then going out on her beat and then dealing with people on the street, still doing her job, still being present with threat, still being present with violence, still being present with that underbelly of life that we all live through every day, yet coming from a place of peace within herself. Peace within ourselves. There's some interesting words that come from the Christian tradition, and I know we've all heard them. Seek first the kingdom, and all else will be added unto you. And where is this kingdom? Within. Seek first the kingdom, and all else will be added unto you. So when you seek internally to make still those waters inside, when you seek internally to find peace within yourself, all else is added. Anything else you're desiring, those things that the child wants, the thing that the celebrity in you wants, the thing that the seeker wants, it's all added unto you. Yet, as Thich Nhat Hanh said in his book, we tend to run away from that place inside. In one of the poems, Hafiz said, "What is it that frightens you about this still small voice?" We do anything to get away from it. We turn to whatever our favorite things are to do, our vices or our habits or even our wonderful work, staying buried in it, so that we don't spend the time on the inside to see what's happening there. Surveying, as he said, that vastness within us, that vast territory that is us. Surveying it regularly. For what? Not to find it wrong, to restore it to peace in whatever is found there, not resisting anything that's found there. We often will go inside and we find anger, or we find resentment, or we find confusion, or we find frustration, or we find something that we don't like, a negative emotion we are not comfortable with, so we want to go away from it. But when we do that, it's a form of suppression. It's repression. It's oppression, but it's internal. So we know better than to allow for suppression and oppression in the world. We know what happens to that. We know all of the volatility that's in the world today has a lot to do with suppression and oppression and repression of peoples and freedom. So when we do that inside, it has to come out also. Now you know when you don't breathe what happens to you. There is no life. And you know you can't stop your heart from beating, and if you do, there is no life in you. We have to circulate. Our blood needs to circulate. It needs to continue to move. We have to continue to move in order to experience this life. But when it comes to those parts of ourself, our emotions, we sometimes want to put them away and hold our breath. and stop our heart. But it doesn't work. Because I think I'm not the only one who has tried to hold something back, suppress it, repress it, oppress it, and have it pop out totally in the wrong time and place, in a way that I would prefer it not to. Sometimes it's with other people. Sometimes it shows up in the body. But it shows up. We are spiritual beings at some level, but we are human beings also. So as we work through this life and as we live together and talk together and work through our issues and try to solve for how can I see what that person sees? How can I see what they see that I don't see? What would it make possible if I could hear them? As we work through those issues and as anger arises or fear arises, we befriend it. Thich Nhat Hanh in his book is wonderful. He says, you say to your anger, "Hello, friend. I am here to take care of you." You say to your frustration, "Hello, friend. I'm here to take care of you." You say to your judgment, "Hello, friend. I'm here to take care of you." To take care of you. Like a mother does with a child that's crying. They go and they care and they embrace and they hold. And then their intuition tells them what to do to solve. We can do the same for ourselves. When we have those emotions, those things that move through us, which they do every day, arise, we can say, "Hello, friend. I am here. I am here to help you in this present moment." The thing about that question that causes us some trouble, are we there yet, is because it's future focused. At some point in time, I will have the thing that I want. At some point in time, I will be the person I want to be. At some point in time, I will find the peace I am seeking. But right here and right now is the only moment we have. Right here and right now, all the love that there is present. All the peace that there is present. All the joy that there is present right here, right now. There is no waiting. It doesn't go away. It is ever present, running through. Thich Nhat Hanh spoke about the river. The river of life moves through you, streams through you. You stand in it at all times. And it is our choice on a daily basis, on a moment basis, to put our focus on that joy within, on that peace within, on that love within, no matter what is happening on the outside. On the inside, everything you need is right where you are. Right here and right now. Breathing in, I am love. Breathing out, I give love. Breathing in, I am joy. Breathing out, I share joy. Breathing in, I am peace. Breathing out, I share peace. Are we there yet? Yes. Blessed be.